Morning. So, first and foremost, let me pay my respect to all the teachers here. Yeah, I think they playing the most significant role on the planet today. So, mera pranam aap sabko. And the second most significant role is being played by you all. You're the future generation. So, my big pranam to you all as well. Yeah, very happy to be here at EBM, and I would like to thank the administration and the management for inviting me here. And I'm already feeling the energy of the IIEBM students because my LinkedIn account, which is normally dormant, has suddenly erupted. Today morning I saw there were so many requests for connection and then so many likes on some of my past posts that the energy has got transferred. I can see that energy, and I think that's great. Yeah, so thank you for that. I have not accepted the connections yet, but I will definitely do that. Okay. So we are ready. Let's fall in love with the ocean. आओ चलो हम समुंदर से प्रेम करते हैं. ठीक है. So we are going to look at. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so we're going to look at an initiative called Sagar Mitra, which is an action program for people to fall in love with the ocean. Sagar ke mitra banne. So Sagar Mitra. So we are going to look at the combined effect of scientific temper, spiritual values to come up with some meaningful action. Sounds very heavy? Okay, it is heavy. It is heavy, and but one thing I can tell you is that in the next 60 to 90 minutes, you all will have something to think about, something to act on, and something to take back, okay, and do some further study. Yeah, some of you will be influenced to take some direct action. Some of you will be inspired to take up a study on the subject. And some of you will feel the impact and may even experience a mind shift change. Fair enough? So should we go on? All right, so let's move. Actually, it's on. Yeah, I think it will work. Global warming. Yeah? We are all living on a sizzling planet. Yeah? The climate all over the world is going crazy. Yeah? America, Europe is experiencing heat like never before. They never had air conditioners. Now they're all looking for air conditioners. We are complaining in Pune about heat, but the same heat is there everywhere. Okay. In Pune, we are all looking up to the sky and saying, where is the rain? When are the rains going to come, right? So rightly so, we are all affected by global warming and keep complaining. Yeah? But nobody seems to be talking about global cooling. Isn't it time that we talk about global cooling? Yeah? So let's do that today. Let's try and see what is global cooling. Yeah? Who's doing the global cooling? Are we doing global cooling? No. So let's take a look at our beautiful planet. Yeah? We all know that 70% of our planet is water and 30% is land. But how many of us know that 70% of the forests are also in the ocean? Anybody who knew? Anybody who did not know? Anybody who did not know, please raise your hands. Wow, that's a large number. Yeah, very fundamental stuff we do not know, which is 70% of the forests are in the ocean, right? And this is significant. Why is it significant? Because trees are the biggest engines for absorbing carbon. Okay, so carbon is what causes global warming, and trees absorb from the atmosphere the carbon and store it away from the atmosphere. And if 70% of these trees are in the ocean, then the ocean plays a significant role in global cooling. Okay? But why is it that so many of us don't know about the role that ocean is playing or the fact that 70% of the forests are in the ocean. And the reason for that is because in our schools we learned geography, you know. Our teachers did a wonderful job in embedding in our brains the wonderful map of the world, right? And did their best to teach us all about the geography of the land. But they did not tell us about the ocean because ocean was out of syllabus. It was not included in the syllabus. What was included was the land, and therefore we do not know about the fact that 70% of the forests are in the ocean. What role the ocean plays in terms of climate moderation, in terms of release of oxygen, in terms of the entire water cycle, right? This would have not happened if the subject was called geohydrography. Yeah? We were taught geography, so only land. So when you call geohydrography, yeah, you're including the ocean in the syllabus. Now, why is this significant? Yeah, I think language has played an important role in the evolution of mankind, right? Language makes a difference. Let me give you an example. When you say forest conservation, what comes to mind? You talk to a forest official and he'll say, yeah, I know forest conservation. I'm going to take care of all the forests on the land and, do whatever to prevent deforestation and grow more trees and all that, right? But he's completely going to ignore the ocean because it doesn't fall in that definition of forest conservation, right? So therefore language is very important. The moment you call it geohydrography, the parents are going to ask, what is this hydro? And all over the world everybody is going to figure out what is this hydro, and therefore it is going to throw up this subject that ocean has to be included in the syllabus, right? And that is how we will be able to understand, or the children in the future will know much more about the ocean than what we know today. The basic fundamental thing we don't know is that 70% of the forests are in the ocean, right? Okay.
वृक्षवल्ली आम्हा सोयरी वनचरे वृक्षवल्ली आम्हा सोयरी वनचरे.
Okay, this is an abhang of Santa Tukaram. Some of you may not know this, but it's a nice pleasing tune. What it says is that all the plants and trees on the planet are our relatives and friends, right? So not only on the land but also in the ocean. Yeah, all plants and trees are our relatives and friends is what Santa Tukaram says, right? So this particular slide you see, right? In addition to absorbing carbon, what do trees do? They release oxygen. Okay, and if 70% of them are in the ocean, then 70% of the oxygen comes from the ocean. So every 5 breaths we take, 3.5 breaths are coming from the ocean, and we don't know about it, and only 1.5 from the land. Okay. So if we are saying that trees and plants are our relatives and friends, how much do we know about them, right? So we know about the trees on the land because we see them, we have seen pictures, we have learnt in our geography. But do you know what the forest in the ocean looks like? Okay. So here are few pictures. So what you see on the right hand side is some kelps and mangroves. Yeah, these are the ocean forests on the coastline, right? They comprise a very small percentage of the total forest in the ocean. What you see on the left hand side is a floating fluorescent blue colored wave in the ocean, okay, which is actually showing us the ocean greenery, the ocean forests. And what you see below are the small goblets. So if you really have to understand and see ocean greenery, we have to look at a drop of ocean through a microscope. So let's do that. So here on the left is a blown up version of a small portion of the drop of an ocean. Okay. And what you see there is unicellular organisms called phytoplanktons. These phytoplanktons are the trees in the ocean. That's the greenery in the ocean. And one drop of the ocean has 50,000 phytoplanktons. So many phytoplanktons in the ocean, right? So what you see on the right is, yes, these are unicellular and these perform the same function that the trees on the land do, which is absorb carbon, absorb sunlight, yeah, and emit oxygen, right? There is a single species called Prochlorococcus marinus, single species of a phytoplankton which releases as much more oxygen than the entire Amazon forest in Africa, right? So there are multiple species of phytoplanktons and they are all doing an amazing job of what the trees on the land do. All right. So let's see the coastal forest. So here on the map you see that along the coastline there are these patches of coastal forest, which, like I said, is a very small percentage of the total forest, and the rest of the blue ocean has the other forest, which is invisible, which is the hidden forest. Yeah, you cannot see that forest. So we want to see that forest, right? To see that forest, we have to take a look at a satellite map. Yeah, so this is a map which is a high-speed map taken of the planet over the year 2000 to 2012, over 12 years, right? And it is showing the invisible forest moving from south to north and north to south. It is moving in search of sunlight. It goes towards the Tropic of Cancer with the sun, and then it comes down to the Tropic of Capricorn, right? It is going in search of the sunlight, yeah, because it needs sunlight to survive and to thrive, right? So this is otherwise not visible to us. Okay, if you normally look at even from an aircraft, you will not be able to see it. This is a very high-speed satellite image which is helping us see this forest, right? Now, this particular ocean forest does a little more than what the trees on the land do, right? In terms of the storage capacity, in terms of the duration, and in terms of the speed, right? So it has a duration which stores the carbon for centuries, centuries together, oceans. What do the trees on the land do? They store for about a few decades, right? Also, the trees on the forest have a risk of deforestation, okay, or burning, If that happens, then the carbon again gets released in the atmosphere. While what happens for the ocean, these phytoplanktons, they have a life of 2 to 3 days. Okay, and they absorb the carbon, they die in 2 to 3 days. Yeah, they also have a very high reproduction ratio, and they go and settle down at the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, so that carbon is gone forever. It is right at the bottom of the ocean, not in the twilight, not in the sunlight areas. And that carbon settles down at the bottom till some wise human being will go and excavate carbon to make petroleum products, right? So till that time, it'll remain there. Okay, then we're talking about the 4 times faster sequestration, right? So the ocean forest absorbs carbon at a much higher speed, right? So all that it does. So definitely, I think the ocean is acting as a primary cooling engine for the planet. Okay, what else does the ocean do? Here you see that in addition to the phytoplanktons, yeah, you find that there are clouds in one of the pictures. So where do the clouds come from? The ocean. What do the clouds do? They go to the land and give rain. So where does the sweet water come from? Ocean. So all the water on the planet, where does it come from? From the ocean. And what does this water on the land do? It helps the trees survive. Okay, it goes into the groundwater. It helps the entire food chain industry, right? So if you really look at it, 100% of the water is from the ocean. Okay, 100% of the oxygen is from the ocean. 100% of the food is from the ocean, right? The ocean is giving us all the things that we need to thrive in life, right? Okay, so it is the primary cooling system of the planet because of this wonderful greenery in the forest, in the ocean, right? Yeah, so the same statistic that we have looked at earlier, ocean oxygen. Okay, then in addition to the carbon absorption, it also does heat absorption. Okay, so the ocean is a gift of nature. Yeah, and what are we doing with the ocean? Yeah, we've seen that it gives us 100% of food, 100% of air, 100% of oxygen. Okay, everything. Okay, so what are we doing? We are throwing plastic, yeah, which is destroying the greenery in the ocean. One second, I have a piece of plastic that I will show you. So far, so good, easy to understand. Very fundamental, but we don't know. Okay, so I am going to take you through all this purely because we need to know this, right? Okay, so here I have a few pieces of plastic, and when we look at so we are saying we throw plastic. What happens because we throw plastic? We block the sunlight. So this is a small piece of plastic, right? How many drops of ocean will be under this? 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 50. Okay. Each drop of ocean has how many phytoplankton? 50,000, right? So this one small piece of plastic is going to kill those many phytoplanktons. Why? Because it is going to prevent sunlight from reaching those phytoplankton, right? All right. So now let's see what we normally see. What we see, right? We see this in every city, right? It's not a new sight for us. So what happens? 30% of the plastic stays on land. It stays on land as landfills. Okay. 30% waste is burned. And when you burn it, it releases toxic gases, right? It releases dioxins, it releases hydrogen chloride, nitrogen oxide, carbon monoxide, very toxic gases, yeah. And 30% of the plastic reaches the water, and only 10% is segregated and sent for recycling. Okay, that's the current statistics. So let's look at what happens to the plastic that goes to the water. Yeah, it accumulates in the water and it starts floating, right? So every plastic that we throw, which goes somewhere, it goes into streams, nalas, rivers, right, and eventually into ocean. So many years back, our team did a voyage. We all know about this Dindi. Dindi that goes from Alandi to Pandharpur. Lakhs of people go walking with the Paduka of Dhaneshwar and Santa Tukaram, right? Now, as an initiative, Vishwakarma Sanskruti Ashram at the banks of Indrayani in a place called Tulapur, they initiated what is called as a Jaladindi. So the Jaladindi did the same thing of taking the holy stuff through boats, through kayaks. And the purpose of doing that was to mix science and religion. Okay, there's a religious belief, so all the villagers would look forward to the Dindi arriving. And in the kayaks, there were water engineers, other engineers, doctors, scientists, environmentalists, everybody traveled to see the condition of the entire river all along that 450 kilometer route. Okay. And what they incidentally also did is that they chased plastic. Okay. Yeah, so this is how, if some of you have gone kayaking, you know that it's a very narrow boat and it's great fun. Of course, while you're learning, you fall inside many times, but it gives you the maximum exposure to the surroundings. Yeah. So this is what I call Jaladindi, right? This is what started in 2006-07. It still happens around Dashera time, right? Sometime after the main Dindi goes. Yeah. These people go through water. If some of you are interested, you can go and check out on the internet about Jaladindi. Okay, so what happens? All this plastic, as you keep chasing it, it goes to dams downstream. Okay, this is one of the dams. Yeah, so all the plastic from Pune, 120 kilometers down, has got collected there. Okay, not only there, it's also on the sides as well, right? And then what happens? Whatever we throw in Pune, you see Pune on the on the Bhima river, right? So whatever is thrown in Pune goes down Bhima river and joins Krishna. Similarly, whatever comes from Bangalore comes from Krishna river, from Tungabhadra, from Vedavati, and it all joins the Krishna river. And the Krishna river flows from Maharashtra into Karnataka, into Telangana, into Andhra Pradesh, right? And then into the Bay of Bengal, right? And it does that because there is a natural slope of the ground. And the natural slope of the ground is the nature's gift, right? Because when the clouds come, okay, they hit the mountains, okay, and they give us rain. And the rain from the mountains comes into the rivers. So, as a natural cycle, this rain is supposed to collect rich ingredients from the mountains and the land and carry it into the river and then take it to the ocean. Okay, so there is a natural slope which is God given, and therefore this whole water cycle runs that way, right? So the water, whatever we throw there, goes into the, okay, not just Maharashtra, let's look at the, whole of India. So we have the Kaveri, then we have the, we have Kaveri, we have Krishna, we have Godavari, we have Mahanadi, and then of course we have the Brahmaputra. And here we have, Ganga, Yamuna, and Saptakoshi rivers of Nepal, all of them joining the Brahmaputra, right? And here on the left, first, of course, you have Indus, which goes from, India, Sindh into Pakistan and into the Arabian Sea. Then you have the Mahi, Narbada, Tapi, all of them empty into the Arabian Sea. And then you have a whole lot of other rivers which emanate from the Western Ghats, right? And into the Arabian Sea. So every piece of waste that we are throwing and ends up at either of the oceans, okay? And this is what it looks like. So Bay of Bengal has 1 to 2 feet of plastic floating. Arabian Sea has 2 to 3 feet of plastic floating, right? So what originated in a house in Pune ends up in one of these oceans. Okay, so there what you see is a landfill. Anybody has seen a landfill? Yeah? We don't see many in Pune, but yes, there are a few. Yeah? And I recently went to, I think, where did I go? I went to Chennai. And in the middle of the city, there's a huge landfill, which looks like a mountain. And if you go on top of that, then again a few kilometers away, So landfill essentially is what? It is complete waste. We have actually 2 categories of waste. One is the plastic, which can be recycled. And the second is the wet waste, which is compost, which is like a fertilizer, right? So each of them has value. But what happens when you mix the two? Then it is disaster. You cannot do anything but just pile it up on the land because it becomes toxic garbage. Okay. 10% of plastic in 1,000 kgs of wet waste spoils the entire 1,000 kgs of wet waste, right? So that is a big problem in our country. But yes, this is what is called a landfill. Then we have, this is Mithi River in Mumbai. Yeah. Somebody says how many fish died. It's like asking agar ek ped gir gaya to kitne patte mar gaye. So there is countless fish in the rivers and the water sources, and they are all dead, and we are creating what is called as violence. Okay, this is Indonesia, Philippines, Kerala, Croatia, all over the world. Okay. Indonesia, you find these fishermen, they're collecting plastic because there's no fish in the rivers. So they collect plastic and they sell. Okay. This is the dark side of the planet, which is the floating plastic that you can see, which is all the dark colors on all the oceans that we see here. Yeah. This is a better depiction. You have a scale at the bottom. The scale is giving the depth of the plastic in the ocean. So the extreme right is this dark maroon or red color, right, which you see in the Pacific Ocean, and that is there and there you can see. Yeah. So this is called the Great Pacific Dump, and it is on the coast of West America. The Western countries are the biggest culprits because they are the biggest consumers, and therefore they are the biggest creators of waste. The per person waste generated is amongst the lowest in India. It's the highest in America. Okay. So let's not just look at America and say they're great. Of course, now we know they're not, but even otherwise, yeah. So all the oceans have these dumps, and this red color shows that it is a depth of 30 feet, 10 meters, that is 30 feet. And you know what is the dimension? 2000 kilometers by 800 kilometers. You know, the size of probably not India, but size of Australia. Yeah, that is the size of just one dump. And there are many such dumps all over the ocean. Yeah, the total area of the ocean is 360 million square kilometers. And out of that, 120 million square kilometers is already covered with plastic, which means that 1/3 of the ocean is already covered in plastic. Okay. And some of this plastic will stay several hundred years in the river. Why? We are not using a plastic bottle, which is very good. Have you seen the typical plastic bottle? Yeah? जिसमें हम पानी पीते हैं सब जगह पे, right? So the body of that bottle lasts for 300 years. And the cap of the bottle lasts for 800 years. It doesn't destroy. It's a great thing. It's a very durable material, you know. So it continues to stay. So if Shivaji's army was using plastic bottle, they would be found lying around everywhere, right? Anyway, what Shivaji did not do, we are doing. So now, you know, we are throwing all the plastic bottles, and they're all finding their way into the ocean, right? So don't use plastic bottles. Use steel bottles. Unfortunately, in a country, even 5 stars and, you know, large conference rooms and all that, everybody's using plastic bottles. Yeah. Of course, now the technology is progressing in a way that, you know, they are coming up with bottles that look like the same bottles, but they are organic and they can be composed. I mean, they don't, you know, remain for so many years. They are degradable. So that's happening. But in the meantime, yes, we cannot say that we will not use plastic, but we must at least dispose it off in the correct way. Make sure that it goes for recycling and doesn't land up in a dump. Okay, so that is where we are. Together we are throwing too much plastic. Yeah, we are caught up in this 14 million tons of waste plastic is what we throw every year. 14 million tons. Okay. And the other dangerous thing is that these microplastics, they also get absorbed in the phytoplankton. So the DNA of phytoplankton is also changing, which is very dangerous. Okay. So the nature's way of helping us in cooling the planet is something which is also getting affected. Right? Alright. So what have we seen so far? We have seen that the ocean is the primary cooling engine for the planet. And what is the other thing we are seeing? That the plastic is the number one enemy of the ocean. Yeah, it's a climate threat. You know, just like an axe is to a tree on the land, a piece of plastic is to the greenery in the ocean. Okay, so we don't have to, on the land we have to hit the axe. Here we have to just throw it, and that's it. It becomes a weapon, right? So what are we doing? We are killing innocent fish. You know, we say that ahimsa paramo dharma, you know. Ultimate spiritual responsibility is non-violence, yeah. But we are indulging in violence and we are killing innocent citizens. Not just fish, monkeys, birds, deer, cows and camels. Khalish Times says that 1 in 2 camels in the UAE dies due to eating plastic litter. Khalish Times. UAE, one of the richest countries in the world, you know. 1 in 2 camels, this is so shocking. Yeah. Look at this poor turtle. Right? Got stuck in this ring and doesn't know what to do. Yeah. So bezuban, voiceless, beguna, innocent, bebas, helpless, bewaja, senseless, बेहिसाब, countless, और बेरहमी से हत्या हो रही है. Yeah, with cruelty and ruthlessness. You know, we are killing these creatures, and birds are feeding their youngsters even before they learn to fly. Yeah, they eat plastic and they perish. So we are all caught up in this vortex of plastic. Yeah. So do we want to do something about this? Can we do something about this? Yes, sir. Everybody? Yes, sir. There. Okay, thank you. Let's do something about it. Yeah? We want to act daily to save these creatures and the ocean forests. Join Sagar Mitra. Stop throwing plastic waste. Collect it, bring it to school, recycle it every month. Save the next generation. So let's try and understand what is this Sagar Mitra. Yeah? Like I said, Sagar Mitra, Sagar ka dost, Friends of the Ocean, right? There is a school in New York that is running this program and they call it Friends of the Ocean. There's a school in Morocco that is running it, they call it Asdik Al Mohit, right? So this is like an international program. So in India we have more than 4 lakh children who are Sagar Mitra, who are participating in this program. Okay. So what we do is like I'm doing now, but now I'm doing a little refined version. But in the school we have a simpler version which we show to the school children. And because they are young, their hearts have a lot of compassion, they have a lot of sensitivity, they all want to do something because they understand the problem, they fall in love with the ocean, okay, from their heart, and from their head they understand what is happening, and therefore they all want to do something. So what we do is we give them a very simple 3-step program. The first step is to take a plastic bag. Simple plastic bag. Okay, everybody has a plastic bag. Most important rule is children's safety. So don't take this bag from outside. Don't take it from the neighbor. Don't take it from the staircase. Don't collect it from the streets. Okay. घर में जो भी आया है, whatever has come, just pick up a plastic bag. Then what do you do after that? You collect plastic from home. Whatever items that you are using and they come in a plastic wrapper, take that wrapper and put it in your collection. Now, the rule is that the plastic that you collect has to be clean, dry and empty. Okay, so let me show you. So here is my plastic bag. This is my current collection, right? So, you have this big Chitade Bandhu or Budhani, whatever wafers, yeah? We have this little hearts, okay? Then you have some biscuit wrapping, okay? Then you have some plastic wrap, okay? Then let me show you something else, yeah. So we have a plastic bottle, medicine, okay? Then you have another medicine, okay? So all these things are something that we use at home, okay? And we throw it in the regular dustbin, right? So instead of that, you pick it up and put it in the plastic bag that you have, okay? And what do you do with this? You keep it next to the newspaper raddi. All of us have newspaper raddi, yeah? From childhood, we have seen one place in the house where all the raddi is stored, right? अभी वो रद्दी में हम लोग वड़ा पाव वाला कागज तो नहीं डालते हैं, You get vada pav also in newspaper, right? You don't put that newspaper. You put only clean and dry newspaper. Similarly, you have to put clean and dry plastic next to the newspaper as newspaper raddi. So the reason for that is obvious. Because if you're going to keep it next to the raddi for a month, then you don't want ants, you don't want cockroaches, you don't want rats, right? So it has to be clean, dry and empty. Okay? And keep it next to the raddi. Now what plastic to throw? We will give you a chart of what plastic can go in there, right? Again, most important rule, this is very important because we don't want children to take a risk. Sometimes they take children to the riverside and they say, okay, let's collect plastic. It's a very dangerous thing to do. Yeah? Because there is so much of toxic stuff in the waste there. You can't put your hands, you can't even go near that. So it is a strictly no-no. We don't want children to go out and do any collection, not even from the street, not even from the society, only inside their house. This is homework. Okay. So here it is. So you have the raddi and next to that you have the plastic raddi. Yeah, that's what we call it. Waste plastic raddi and waste newspaper raddi. Very simple. So far so good. एक plastic bag लिया, उसमें सब डाला next to the newspaper raddi. And then what is the third step? Most important rule, children's safety, never collect waste from outside one's home. Yeah, this is being repeated because it's very important. Okay. Step number 3, bring that bag to the school. The school will give you a date so and so date you can bring your stuff, and then you tie it up nicely, okay, and you bring it to the school. This is of course only for the photograph. What you see here is, okay, so they don't do that. The schools are organized. What they do is they give a date and they keep a sack, where children as they come in they can put in their stuff in that. Yeah. Now the important thing here is that the children do not carry any target. Okay. Before that, let me just conclude with the safety part and then the 3 steps. So first step, collect a bag. Second step, put plastic, keep it next to Radhi. Third step, bring it to school. Right? Very simple. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now this is the kind of plastic that the children have collected. 10 tons per month, and we are only talking about 4 lakh odd students across Maharashtra. Yeah. Now that number is increasing, then the quantity will increase. But like I said, the quantity is not what we are going after. This is not a waste collection program. The program is that every student should bring at least 1 piece of plastic. If there are 60 students in a class, then everybody should have at least 1 piece. And it's not important that they go and, pick up from everywhere because they want to show large quantity. No, there's no competition. There is no marks for quantity, right? Yes, there are marks for participation. So you must participate and do that. Yeah. So when these children, okay, this is a Photoshop image and just gives you an idea. Okay. So when these children go and collect plastic at home, the parents say, "Arey, why is your school asking you to collect waste?" The children say, "Dad, we are not collecting waste. We are saving the lives of aquatic life." And then they say, "Okay, I am making sure that when I put this piece here, this piece will not go in the mouth of a fish. This piece will not cover and block sunlight for the ocean greenery." Yeah. So the children understand that and they tell the parents. So this becomes a Balak to Palak program. Okay. So now the parents also start participating. They say, "Hey, the child is doing a good job, so why don't I help him?" And in that house, you have a bag where every member of the family is putting plastic, So this is a program of mass behavior change. The smallest unit on the planet, smallest functional unit is a family. Okay. Change has to start from a family to have a mass impact. How are we doing for time? 30 more minutes. Okay, good. So the family is the smallest unit of any change that has to happen on the planet. And therefore this becomes a program of mass behavior change. This is a program of character development. This is not a program of waste collection. Right? The children use their head, heart and hands. Jnana Bhakti Karma Yoga. Yeah? Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami, Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. They understand the ocean and they understand the damage the plastic is doing by understanding science, information, right? They fall in love with the ocean by using their compassion. And they do a simple act of collecting plastic at home, which is their karma. So it's a program which is initiating their spiritual side without them knowing it. Yeah. But this is what is going to, when these children grow up, when you all grow up and become decision makers, and if you are following Sagar Mitra, you are more likely to take decisions which are in favor of the planet. Okay. You will take decisions, you will at least think about it, you will use your heart and really feel what you're getting into, and then you'll take a decision. Right? So we are building future generations that are more conscious, more aware, and more spiritually inclined to take the right decision for the planet, not just for their family or their society or their religion or their city or their school, right? They will take a decision which is in the best interest of the planet. Okay. So these two things are very important, that they are saving aquatic life, they are participating in a non-violence program, and they are saying, so if you ask a fish, who's throwing plastic? The fish will say, human beings. So who's human beings? Me and you. Yeah? So we are throwing plastic. So if anybody throws plastic, I'm throwing plastic. Right? So the sense of responsibility Anyone throws plastic, I take responsibility. Very simple, right? Because it's not my garbage, but it's my planet. Okay, this is something deeper, but I just want to give you a little flavor of it. Yeah. So when we say Sagar Mitra, we are talking about 3 oceans. Yeah. The first ocean is what is called as the universe of infinite ocean, which is the universe, which is the Shira Sagar. Right. Then we have the second ocean, which is the Urja Sagar. Okay. Urja Sagar is in the form of 7 chakras within each one of us, which is basically a conduit of the universal energy. So that is the Urja Sagar. So we have the Shira Sagar, we have the Urja Sagar, and then we have the Shara Sagar, which is the smallest ocean out of the 3, which is the saltwater ocean. We all know only the smallest ocean, which is the ocean that we see. Yeah, but there are 2 huge oceans. The ocean of compassion can take in everything. The ocean of compassion will say that, hey, water ocean, you're in trouble, I am there to save you. Okay. So the ocean of compassion is huge, and of course the ocean of the universe is like the Adi Shakti. Okay. So this is just to give you a flavor, but I want you to... So Sagar Mitra brings these 3 oceans together in the student's consciousness, conscience and collaboration, head, heart and hands. Okay. So head, heart and hands is actually a technology given to us by nature, given to us by our wise gurus, yeah, and anything and everything you do, you apply head, heart and hands. Okay, life becomes simple. Okay, so here is the... Okay, so that is children singing this Teen Sagar, but of course this is in depth. We cover this in our teachers training. What are these 3 Sagars, and how we need to have an in-depth knowledge of all of them to truly become a Sagar Mitra, to become a qualified teacher, to be able to go and teach children. Okay, I am not talking to you as children, I am talking to you as adults because you are now out of school, but that doesn't disqualify you from participating in Sagar Mitra, because now we have DY Patil, which is participating, we have MIT, we have VIT, so a lot of colleges are also getting into it. So I think this program actually applies to the entire population. Yeah, there is no age. But what happens is that as we grow up, rust gathers on our chakras. We lose compassion. We have so many people dying in the war, but we just, shut it off. Out of choice. I mean, we've got conditioned like that because of circumstances or whatever, right? Children are still fresh. Okay, so now you're also children. Okay, you're just making a transition, right? But you all still have that sensitivity and you still have that compassion. So don't let it go. Yeah, keep it, and that's what is going to help save the world and the planet. Okay. So here is another concept that we want to teach children, because this is again a reason for all the fights and all the division that is happening in the world, which is the concept of a true nation. A true nation is your nation plus blue nation, right? So if I am an Indian, then my true nation is India plus the ocean. And the ocean, when I say not only Indian Ocean, right? The entire thing that you see in blue, right? So if I'm an Israeli, then I'll say Israel plus the ocean. If I'm a Russian, I'll say Russia plus the ocean, right? So the ocean is what is uniting all the countries, right? And currently there is no ownership, There's no country has any budget for the ocean. Right? If I go to Modi, if I go to Trump, if I go to anybody and say, hey boss, there is a 2,000 kilometer by 800 kilometers dump in the ocean. Why don't you give me a few $1 billion to clean it up? No budget. We're just using the ocean as a dumping ground. Okay, nobody has a budget. The only little effort that is happening, some people are doing effort. There are some NGOs that are working, trying to figure out how to, take care of it. Technology is progressing in terms of how to, extract it in the best possible way. So all that is happening. Yeah. But at Sagar Mitra, what we are saying is, let's look at the prevention. Let's look at how we prevent more plastic from going into by 2050, there is going to be more plastic than fish in the ocean. Can we really afford it? Because that's our cooling engine. If we shut down the cooling engine, then all of us are going to roast. Yeah. So this is a two-nation theory. Jalakhanda plus Bhukhanda is the total khanda. Okay. So citizens engagement at scale. Like I said, we have 4 lakh students currently there, and then we have collected more than 1,000 tons of recycled, and we are expanding. Currently we are in Maharashtra, Sangli, Nasik, Pune, Jalgaon, few of these places. Then we are there in Karnataka in Davangere, and slowly we have making inroads into Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, and currently there's a teachers training going on for teachers of Uttar Pradesh and Nepal. So these 2 states are getting added. Yeah, so a lot of states are getting added. And of course, because of the good work being done by the children, there are 2 global recognition. One is what is called as a Ocean Hero Award, right? So all these children who were participating, they are ocean heroes. Five Gyres is a big ocean research institute. You can do a Google on that. In 2024, we got the Earth Day Great Global Cleanup Award. Yeah, so 194 nations are participating, and that's what happens. Okay, so this is a single poster which talks about the entire Sagar Mitra program. So on the left hand side, you find the picture of the tortoise and the animals that are suffering, and then you have the map where you find the plastic dumps, and then on the right hand side, you find the children that are participating through their head, heart, and hands in the Sagar Mitra program. In the middle, we have a few other emblems. The first one is called Aao Nadi Ko Jaane. So there is a big initiative in terms of understanding our rivers. Yeah. So the total addition of all the 66,000 rivers, the water in the rivers, is less than 1 billion square kilometers. And the ocean is 360 million square kilometers, right? So it is such a minuscule part. But those are the rivers. They play a vital role in our lives. Yeah, so that is an organization. Below that, you find a multicolor thing which is called the 17 SDGs. The United Nations have sat together and said, hey, something is going wrong with the planet, let's fix it. So they've got 17 sustainable development goals, right? Which India is also a signatory. So I'll talk about, yeah. So out of this 17, almost 8-9 of these are covered by Sagar Mitra. Okay. So what else we have? On the right hand side, we have all the other government and other bodies that are associated with us. At the bottom, we have Cummins, Suzlon and Umicore. These are the corporates that are providing CSR funding for Sagar Mitra. Okay, because it's an initiative through an NGO, so it does not make any money. So we get CSR funding from these companies. Yeah. So there are 3 orientations, 17 SDGs. Then there are 11 duties of national citizens. We have a Constitution of India, and there is a section on duties of the citizen. When I was in school, we had a subject called civics, where we were taught all this. I don't know whether that subject still exists or not. It does? Okay, good. So some of you would know what is duties of the citizen. So that also gets covered here. Yeah, so what is that duty? It shall be the duty of every citizen of India to prevent and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures. Okay, all that is given here. But you know what is missing? Ocean. Where is the ocean? The ocean is missing. So we have to add ocean also, because somehow we have forgotten, because we learned geography and not geohydrography. Okay. All right. So that is that. And of course the So right on top we are saying Sagar Mitra helps schools to implement the National Education Policy 2020, right? So I'm sure in your institute as well, you will be implementing or are implementing NEP 2020. Now what does the NEP 2020 say? That it says that there should be, okay, we'll look at the next slide where it is in a larger display. Okay, so what is the purpose of education? Which is also the core objective of NEP 2020. Okay, NEP stands for? Sorry? Yes. So the National Education Policy, which was released in 2020, is a very powerful document, is a very sensible document, and it is actually going to enhance, I won't say transform, but enhance the education system in our country. Not just school, but also higher education, because it includes higher education. So it says the purpose of education is to develop good human beings, capable of rational thought and action, possessing compassion and empathy, courage and resilience, scientific temper, creative imagination, with sound ethical moorings and values. A hell of a lot, right? Everything. So you got to be everything, all of that, right? So, okay, how does, okay, this is, I'll ignore this. This is the actual extract of the education policy, but let's look at a, okay, so at the bottom you have Vaigyanik Drishtikon, which is scientific temper. You have Adhyatmik Mulya, which is spiritual value. Lok Sahbhag, which is community engagement. And you have Jagtik, which is the global citizenship, right? And a very important thing which is said by Atal Bihari Vajpayee, which is that निर्माणों के इस पवन युग में चरित्र निर्माण ना भूले, you know, which is we are doing so much of advancement and we are looking at innovation and creativity and technology and everything, but the basic fundamental being, the basic fundamental structure of a human being we're forgetting, right? So we need to focus on character building. Everything else will fall in place. Okay, so let's look at the summary of this. Yeah, so first is environment education. This should include areas such as climate change, pollution, waste management, all that, right? So at Sagar Mitra, we're talking about global warming and we're talking about plastic. Then we're talking about scientific temper and value-based education. So we are understanding in a scientific way what the planet is all about and what is it giving to us and what is it that we need to learn more about. Okay. Community engagement, of course, community engagement, Balak to Palak, and you know, the whole program is for the community. Universal human values, okay, or spiritual values, right? So, by whatever we have discussed so far, you would understand it covers Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prem, and Ahimsa. Okay, all of this. Because otherwise, you will not find these covered in any other syllabus, any other activity. So, this is now part of the syllabus because of NEP 2020. But it may not be part of the classroom, so it could be outside the classroom, right? And then we are talking about global citizenship education, right? So there we are talking about becoming sensitive and contributing to global well-being, right? And there come in the 17 SDGs. I'll just show you what those 17 SDGs are, and then we've already seen the citizenship. Okay, so these are the 17 SDGs as defined by the 192 UN countries. Okay, so they cover things like poverty, hunger, this, that, all of them, right? But if you really study them, which you must as management students, I think you should go and do a search for what are these 17 SDGs and then try and see how much of it makes sense to you, where is it that you can contribute. If you're part of Sagar Mitra program, you're already contributing in about at least 8 of them, if not more. Okay. 2021 to 2030 has been declared as the decade of ocean science. Okay, so it is imperative that as management students and as future decision makers, you must look at 17 SDGs and you must see what are the initiatives that are being taken for the ocean science, right? Now there are, I mean, whatever I have spoken about, or we're trying to explore the ocean, most of these things are not covered. If you go and look at anybody looking at studying ocean, they will be studying about how to have more advanced fishing equipment, you know, how to extract more fish from the ocean. They will have technology for making better trawlers to be able to extract minerals from the ocean, because the minerals and the natural resources on the land are finished. So now the human beings are saying, अच्छा land में नहीं मिला तो अभी हम let's go to the ocean. And people like Musk are saying, forget the planet, let's go to another planet. You know? So that's a very dangerous way of living, right? So let's understand the value of what we have already got, and let's see how we can preserve that and how we can all lead a very balanced life. Okay, so Sagar Mitra, any questions? Oh, you have questions? Okay, go ahead. I think we'll take questions and then I'll continue with the rest of it. Please. You can say it or the mic then. Sorry, it was not interactive because this is a slightly heavy subject.
Sir.
Do it one way.
Sir.
Yeah. You got a question after that. Yeah.
Jain sir, my name is Bhumi Agrawal. My question is, what are the some achievement of Sagar Mitra Abhiyan that you feel deserve more public attention?
What are the achievements that will get us more public attention? Yeah, so firstly, we did not have resources. We started up with one school with 150 students. Now it has grown to 4 lakh students, and now there is some visibility. In fact, you'll be surprised. We just created a website, so I can share the URL, but it's still in the making. So we are that fresh. But the interesting thing is, okay, let me talk about this. So governments have started noticing that hey, here's something, some initiative that is actually helping. So they have started giving us schools. So this is Nasik Municipal Corporation. But before that, let me tell you. Yeah, before that, let me show you. This is Ajit Dada Pawar before he passed away. He signed an MOU with Sagar Mitra and he gave us some, I don't know how many, 303 schools and 156 villages. So this program has now got extended beyond schools to villages. And we have what is called a Sagar Gram. And then from the homes of people, it has got extended to societies. So we have Sagar Sankul. So housing societies are also doing this. And villages are also doing this. And now let me tell you about the municipal corporation. So this is there is a Kumbh Mela coming in 2027. Okay? जो प्रयागराज में हुआ था अभी वो नासिक में होने वाला है. So Kumbh Mela के लिए they called Sagar Mitra. And they said, can you be our advisors and can you help Kumbh Mela be plastic free? So we told them, no, we don't have that expertise and we don't have the machinery and we cannot help you. But what we can do is we can help sensitize all the citizens of Nasik to have a plastic free mindset. Okay, and if you guys and every citizen of Nasik does it, then you are setting up a great example, So they liked the idea and they signed up, and then we are advisors for the Kumbh Mela. So they have even given us vehicle. Every ward has given a vehicle. We have trained up, I don't know how many, 300 students so far, and now we've got 500 more schools. Yeah. So the next one, yeah. 200 शाळांचे मदतीने 3 संस्था. Anyway, so 200 schools already done. More schools are happening. And in the picture, if you see, everybody's got their hand up, so they're taking a pledge. What is the pledge? We, the people in every family of Nasik district, pledge to segregate our family waste plastic at home and to send it for recycling to protect the Godavari river basin and the ocean forests. Okay. So yeah, to answer your question, it is happening slowly, right? From schools to colleges to villages to societies. Yeah. So thank you for that question.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Jain sir.
Yeah.
Jain sir, my name is Aritra. So I want to ask the question that at the depths of the ocean, sunlight does not reach in that much of amount.
Correct, I hear you.
Sunlight does not reach in that much of amount, so that it is suitable for the process of photosynthesis. So how does still they generate more oxygen than that of land? That's what I am concerned about.
Yeah, because the jungle is not there at the bottom of the ocean. It is on the top of the ocean. It's a floating jungle. Okay, there's nothing at the bottom because, like you saw in that one of the slides, yeah, at the bottom there's no sunlight. So the greenery exists in the sunlight zone and the twilight zone. That's all, not below. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry, he's got a question. You have a question.
Jain sir, my name is Ayush Tiwari and I have a question regarding plastic waste management. So till now I am not getting the answer why we are not coming up with plastic waste management to make roads or something to reduce the plastic.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yes, surely. I mean, there is a lot of effort happening in terms of you're reusing plastic for making roads and doing a lot of things. But I think this is a subject that needs to be studied, because making roads is not the best way of using plastic. Because what you're doing is you are just hiding the plastic in the tar, and still there is an exposure of that plastic to the sunlight. So therefore it will eventually become microplastic and still be harmful for. So that's one of the ways of temporarily hiding the plastic, but that's not the best solution, right? So there are efforts happening in terms of how to do that. So one of the things is that more technology is coming into place. Okay, let me just quickly run you through some of the slides. Yeah, so here it is, right? So what happens is that the plastic that we collect, okay, goes to a recycling plant, and they make these shreds and they make it into granules, and then so the children see that what they brought has become this, and therefore they convert that into various objects, which could be mugs and buckets and whatever, same thing, but it's recycled, right? And then there is also another way of recycling where they make these plastic boards. And so some of these recyclers pay money for collecting plastic, some of these days they don't, but what they do is whatever they are making, they present it back to the school. So if they are making plastic boards, they will make notice boards, they will make benches, stools, whatever, and they will give those as substitutes. Now this is another way of recycling. 100 kgs of waste plastic, 25 kgs of gas, 50 kgs fuel oil, 25 kgs of coal. Okay, so all that can happen. Recently we went to a recycling plant where we found that they have a machine in which they put the plastic and they come out with these little pellets, and these pellets are what is a replacement for coal. So a company like Thermax or any industry that needs has boilers or needs heat generation will take these pellets and they will consume them. So there'll be zero residual at the end of it. So that's another way. So a lot of effort is going on to do that, right? So so there is ignorance. So some governments are passing rules and policies, let's make roads. Okay, so they're happening, So everything can't be stopped. Somebody says, why doesn't the government stop production of plastic? Sensible, no? If the plastic is creating so much problem, why not stop it, right? But let's look at our own lives, how much plastic we are using, right? So मेरे toothbrush से लेके good night तक सब plastic का ही बना हुआ है. Plastic is such a beautiful material. Durable, long-lasting, flexible, colorful. Okay, what else you want, right? So it has taken over our lives, and therefore there are huge industries that have invested in. It's a byproduct of petrochemicals. The companies that make petrochemicals. Who are they? DuPont, Reliance. So the big names. They're all making this petrochemicals, and as a byproduct of that is plastic, right? Now they are employing millions of people. You cannot stop the industry suddenly without having an alternative for these million people. What will they do? So we just cannot say plastic is bad, let's stop it. Smoking is bad, let's stop it. Has it stopped? It has stopped to some extent. How many years has it taken? Many years. ITC was a company that was making, sorry, I'm paying less attention to this side. ITC was a company that was making tobacco, cigarettes. Now it is diversified. Now it is into hospitality. Now it is into some other product, right? But it has taken them so many years. And this is something visible. Plastic, though, people don't even know what damage plastic is doing, right? So the time for people to realize that and to come up with, alternatives, it's happening. And all of you can contribute. All of you are going to become decision makers. You need to take decisions, the right decisions. Okay. In favor of the ocean. Okay,
Jain sir, my name is Aryan Pathak Chaturvedi and I belong from Mumbai. Sir, recently there was a construction going on of the coastal road, because of which in the Borivali area a lot of mangroves has been cut. Because of which there has been a lot of talk going on about what is going to happen when the rain is going to come, because mangroves is the plant which stops the water from coming into the land. But on the other hand, the population is increasing at that level that the government has to make some infrastructure to maintain the traffic of the city. So, sir, what should we do? What is the other option that we can choose other than spoiling the water for?
Yeah, so these are all big decisions and they have huge implication, right? So mangroves are protecting the coastline, no doubts about that. That's the nature's way of, having those mangroves in a place where we know that, the ocean is going to, can be a dangerous thing. So there is a protection that is given. Now, if somebody is hell-bent on breaking that protection just because they want to make a road, what can we do?
Exactly.
Right? Pune river beautification. They're spending millions of rupees, crores of rupees for beautification. But what about the water?
Exactly.
So unless until you do something upstream and spend money which is not visible,
Yes.
only then the water will come, right? So all these projects that are happening and are not happening the right way purely because the people who are sitting at the decision making level do not understand the long term implication. They are all looking at short term gains.
Yes, sir.
Okay, they are looking at keeping their position, holding their position, making popular decisions. Where people will say, wow, must bahut acha rasta ban gaya. It has saved us so much time. Not understanding that this is disaster, leading to disaster, right? So, good question. Everybody needs to think about this question and everybody needs to put themselves in a shoe that if you are the decision maker, what decision will you take? Because there are no easy answers. Life is tough. Okay, so you guys need to figure that out. Thanks.
Jain, sir.
Jay. Yes. Okay, you are here. You can ask.
Jain sir, myself Shubham. So I would like to I would like to know your opinion on the cremation of bodies on the ghats of rivers. Cremations, exactly.
We have not studied this aspect of what effect cremation can have, because most of the cremation grounds, I agree with you, are located nearer the banks of the rivers. Yeah. So the logic probably could be the fact that bodies are decomposable, and they eventually need to dissolve with nature. So probably that could be a logic, but I am not an authority on this subject and we have not studied this aspect. Yeah, but thank you for asking the question. Everybody can think about it. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Sir, is your organization planning to take any initiatives for rivers like Ganga Ji or Yamuna?
No, we are not doing anything specific for these rivers. So what we are doing is we are introducing Sagar Mitra in those geographies. Like I said, Uttar Pradesh and UP and all that, where Ganga Yamuna flow, and Nepal, which actually becomes a feeder for these rivers. But we do not have any there are many NGOs, there are many programs currently happening. Clean Ganga, and under the Swachh Bharat and other initiatives. Yeah, but Sagar Mitra is not doing anything specific for those rivers. We are more focused on the ocean, and there are a lot of organizations that are working on rivers. So Aao Nadi ko jaane wale hai, ya Jal Biradari. There is an organization called Jal Biradari that is doing a lot of work for specifically for rivers. Yeah. Thanks. Yes, young lady.
Jain sir, my name is Karishma. So first of all, I would like to answer his question that he asked about the cremation. So as for my knowledge, it doesn't harm river water, and body is very much decomposable. If even it is not cremated, if it directly goes down to the river, it becomes food for the aquatic organism that are present inside the ocean and wherever. And second, my question is that this is very big problem we are facing. It is causing cancer, many things. But all the recycling is one of the solution. But I don't find that, I don't get that where it will stop, because recycling is there. But whenever I go outside, I find everything wrapped in plastic only, from bottles to utensils, everything. Nowadays, utensils are also coming in plastics. So I don't get that where it will stop. I don't able to find any solution for this. Recycling is good, but ultimately this is not good for our environment, as you have mentioned. So Can you please?
Yeah. So thank you for that question, and the answer is very simple. It has to stop with me. It has to stop with you. Forget about the rest of the world. You check out your own consumption and you check out your own habits. You know. So that's how it starts. एक समुंदर के कट्टे पे, you know. One morning, a family went for a walk. There were a lot of fish which had got flown over, you know, and they were finding it difficult to go back into the ocean. So that little kid, what he did, So the little kid, what he did, he was picking up a fish and throwing it back into the ocean. Okay, then he picked up another one and he threw it back into the ocean. The dad bola, "Arey, what's wrong with you? Yeah, there are lakhs of them. Why are you throwing this? Not going to make any difference." So the kid picks up one more fish and throws it. It made a difference to this fish. He picks up another one and throws and says, "It made a difference to this fish." You know. So every small action adds up. So if you look at the total picture and then you might get overawed and say, "Arey yaar, iska to koi solution nahi hai. Ye kaise hoga?" You know. Which is a natural reaction. But let's look at ourselves. How am I contributing? Okay, there's a concept of competitive consumerism.
Yes, sir.
And plastic is a measure of this. One of the reasons why you collect plastic and keep it for 30 days is to see how much plastic you've generated. Okay, more plastic you've generated, you are in the consumer trap. You are in competitive consumerism because you are buying things which are not just your need, but you're going beyond. If you look at a sparrow or a bird, it builds a nest for itself and the family. हाँ? तो वो 7-story nest तो नहीं बनाता है. बोलते हर एक पेड़ पे मेरे को nest चाहिए. ऐसे तो नहीं करता है. So basic fundamental needs. Let's look at each one of us and say, hey, basic stuff I have got, I'm okay. I'm good with this. The whole media is throwing stuff at us and saying, have you got this? Have you got this? Have you tried this? Look at this dress, so beautiful. Yeah. Look at this product. If you don't have it, you're missing the bus. So we are being driven crazy. The whole world is piling on us. Okay, and putting us under pressure. So competitive consumerism is killing us, killing the planet. So let's look within and say, how much am I contributing? Instead of, like you rightly said, that if you look around, you find, "Arey, ye kabhi band hone wala hai." ठीक है? So every person has to play their role. And if you people become good citizens as defined in NEP, then this will get arrested. And over the next 2 generations, it will completely stop. Okay, because nature's design is for the planet to thrive. All right, okay, thank you for that question.
Thank you, sir. There is one request. Please share this presentation.
Sorry?
Please share this presentation to us.
Share the PPT.
Yeah.
You have to attend teachers training program if you are really interested. It is comprising of 4 sessions over 4 weeks, 2 to 3 hours per session, where we will give you the entire stuff, plus we'll also train you so that you can train your batch of school or society, or you can take up a village or do whatever, right? Or just have it within yourself to have a better understanding, right? So the other way you can contribute is you came from some school, right? All over India. You can get back to your school and say, hey, there's a program called Sagar Mitra. Why don't you listen to these guys and your school can implement. I'm also going to talk to Colonel Marwa if you want to implement in IIEBM. Yeah? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Jain sir, my name is Vedant Jangam. Recently I saw a video that people have released floatable belts which generate electricity when waves hit them, but they also cover the ocean surface. So what do you have the opinion that the photosynthesis will stop from the phytoplankton? So is it doing more harm than good?
What is your opinion? If it's throwing electrical current, what is it going to do? You're going to kill the phytoplankton. You're going to kill the fish. Yeah, so it's bad. So if you are you become the CEO of such a company, you will quickly diversify and say, hey boss, what am I doing? That's the whole difference, If you're making a lot of money by making these floating belts with lights and all that, it may be helping some section and it may be helping you with making some money, but it's not helping nature. Okay. So Gandhi ji ने बोला था, be the change that you want to see. ठीक है? तो अभी उसका ज़माना चला गया because most of us don't know what we want to see. Okay. So we have to now look at be the change the nature wants to see. What does the fish want? What do the trees want? Forget about what we want. Okay, thanks for that question. Sorry, you have the mic, yes.
Jain sir, my name is Rohan Panda. So sir, thank you for the enlightening session first of all. And sir, basically about pollution, I think the ground reality, the major problem is stubbornness or civic sense, the mindset actually. And I think the millennials or the older generation are more stubborn. And if you gave them any advice, they retaliate. So how could you tackle their problem?
Don't tackle them. Their time will come, they'll go. They'll take all their stuff with them. So don't waste your energy doing that. Utilize your energy where it is going to work. Sagar Mitra program is aimed at children. It could have been easily aimed at corporates and adults. No, because we have the effort it will take us to communicate the same message is going to be much harder. It will eventually reach. But we are reaching out to children because children are non-adulterated, they are sensitive, they are open, they are compassionate. And there is a likelihood of this program succeeding because parents today, what is the most important thing for them? Children. Okay. So if not anybody, they listen to the children. They are interested in the well-being of the child, right? And if the child is saying things that are making sense, okay, then the children will listen. All their sweat and blood that they're making, money is only for the child. They want to give their children the best education, right? This is part of education. What we are learning today is education. Yeah? NEP 2020, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Got it? Okay, anybody else? Yeah. Good, I am happy people back there are also listening.
Jain sir, myself Giriraj Palaskar. I already prepared my question before you showing this presentation.
Wow.
The slide of using of plastic in as a fuel. Sir, my question was: is recycling a profitable business, considering all aspects of various types of plastics and extracting them from ocean? Is it a profitable business?
Now it is profitable. Some time back it was a little dangerous. That's why a lot of people are not getting into it because एक तो पहले clean waste नहीं मिलता है. जो waste मिलता है उसको segregate करना पड़ता है. Segregation is a big headache. How are you going to segregate plastic from wet waste and keep it all separate? Within plastic, how do you segregate? So segregation was a big overhead and not cost effective. But now with technology, there is advancement in terms of how to not exactly segregate, but how to sort it out or how to use the waste as it is, without segregating. How can I use that and make something meaningful, right? So a lot of people are getting into recycling now and it is turning out to be lucrative. It was not some time back, but it is. I think all of you can also think of recycling as a avenue for adding value, yes, commercially as well as your adding meaning to life. Yeah.
Sir, I also want to continue with my question. Sir, if this is a profitable business, then why big powers and big people like Adani and Ambani are not getting into it and social awareness is not made? As the raw material we know, which is plastic, is readily available in oceans, which will be beneficial for the environment also, and also they will generate profit through it. So why is it not yet considered?
Yeah. They will get into it slowly because ek to abhi now there is a government policy compulsion which is called producer responsibility. Okay, so if I am making Coke and I'm selling them in these plastic bottles, right, or any product, then the producer has the responsibility to get back those plastic bottles, okay, and take care of recycling. So that's one of the things that is happening. To answer your question, the business of recycling is not as lucrative of the business of production. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
So now what is lucrative is for you to define. Do you want to do something that is against the nature because it is very lucrative, or do you rather do recycling which is good enough? I am making my money, right? So it all boils down to what is the mindset you are developing as you come out of this institute, right? Of course we got to be ambitious. Of course we got to be dynamic. Of course we got to be successful. What is the definition of success in your mind? I can take a separate session on that. But yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. I got
okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, anybody here? All the women are very silent, except for two of them behind. Yeah, anybody here? Sorry, I think I should have been on this podium. More attractive podium. Yes, ma'am.
Jai Hind sir, I'm Anjali Gabriel. So like in the whatever as per my knowledge I know is that in plastic the solution is the 3 R's, that is the reduce, reuse and recycle. But as you and your organization is working on it, so I just want to know your personal opinion. Like besides these 3 R's, like what is the extra thing which you know you all are working on it? Because these 3 R's are very common and we all know that. What is the other solution besides these 3 R's?
Besides the three meaning, besides the three-step action.
Yes, sir. Besides the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Acha, beyond that.
Yeah.
Beyond that, we are working on mindsets.
Okay.
We are not working on plastic.
Okay.
Anybody says, are you on a waste management program? We are not on a waste management. This is just the medium because everybody knows plastic. Everybody sees plastic, right? What we are working on, like I said, Sagar Mitra is part of a larger body called Vishwa Sanskriti. So Vishwa Sanskriti was started to find answers to unanswered questions. Why they're suffering, why are there wars, in spite of such a beautiful nature and, belief in God, why is there suffering, So that is our bigger purpose.
Okay.
To look at harnessing the natural energy which is already there within all of us. So that is Vishwa. This is one of our initiatives because it's visible. You can see plastic, you can feel it, and it's something that you can do, pick it up, put it in a bag. But that makes a habit, and it makes your mind think, why am I doing it?
Yes, sir.
So that mindset shift is very important. So like I said in the beginning, this program will either make you think, make you act,
yes, sir,
or make you feel. I hope it has done something. One of these or some of these, right? And I think we have very little time. I am just going to take one last thing which I want to tell you in a very short way. Our national anthem, which we sang in the beginning, it was not wording, but it was the national anthem. Now, I just want to tell you that this national anthem, let me open all of this and save time. So this national anthem talks about Punjab, Sindh, Gujarat, Maratha, Dravida, Utkal, Banga, right? So left to right, if you say Punjab, Sindh, Gujarat, Maratha, Dravida, and then, Bengal. So these are all the agricultural lands which are thirsting for rains, And then what happens? When the Himachal mountains stop these clouds and they bring the rain from the ocean. Yamuna, Ganga. Our rivers carry the ocean water to farmlands, right? And then Uchchala Jaladi Tarang, right? This national anthem is all about water and Uchchala Jaladi Taranga. Uchchala Jaladi is ocean. So when Rabindranath Tagore wrote that Janagana Mana Adhinayak, so who's the Adhinayak? The Adhinayak is the ocean. It is the Sagar. And who's the Bhagya Vidata? Bhagya Vidata is the ocean. So this entire paragraph has been telling us for how many? 78 years. Yeah, we've been singing it for 78 years, right? It has been telling us that we must say Jai Jai He for the ocean and not for the Almighty or somebody else, right? Of course, this has other paragraphs. This is only the first paragraph of the national anthem that we know. There are 4 or 5 paragraphs, and eventually it goes to Adi Shakti, right? But the very fundamental national anthem that we all sing is in praise of the ocean. Uchchala Jaladi Tarang. I have just one last song to play for you.
सागर बच गया, सागर बच गया, बच्चों ने उसे बचाया, मछली खुश है, मछली खुश है, सबने प्लास्टिक उठाया, आप भी उठाओ, हम भी उठाओ, उठ गया प्रदूषण साया, बालक बदला, पालक बदले, बच्चों ने सिखाया।
Okay, thank you very much.